Hi, I'm Jo from the Breathe Academy, and this is part of my series of Parenting with Wisdom. And this video is focusing on how to be more mindful when it comes to tech in our homes, specifically how much we can manage our children's use of tech. So this is something I am very, very close to. I've got two girls, aged 12 and 13. And so I've been navigating these waters for a while. And I guess there are kind of so many challenges here. And there are no kind of rules, there's no set answers, there's no right or wrong. And it's actually what works best for your family. So it's really important to remember that. I wouldn't want to sit here and say that I've got all the answers for you, but there are maybe three things that have certainly helped us as a family that are kind of widely discussed and advised, and might be worth trying if you're having your own challenges with your kids and their kind of devices. So the first thing, as you might notice, there's a theme here with the way that I present information, that it often does start with us. So I think how we model our own use of devices is really important. So in other words, what they see us do is what they're going to accept as normal, regardless of what we say they should be doing. So in other words, we created some rules between my partner and I a long time ago, which is that if we're around the kids as much as possible, especially if we can see they want to talk to us or they want to engage with us, we put our phone down, face down. So if something pops up, we can't see it. And also we turn off notifications. So you can't hear the phone dinging, and there's no kind of message that whatever's coming through on the phone is more important than what they're saying in that moment. Of course, this can't be the case all the time. My life is run through my phone. I get it. So very often we have to be on the phone, in which case we say to the kid, do you know what? I have to be on the phone in this moment. Can you hold that thought and I'll be with you in a moment? So it's kind of creating those boundaries. Also, that kind of modelling of when it's okay to be on the phone, when it's not. So we've created boundaries that there are no phones at the table, for instance, when we're eating together. We might say occasionally, look, it might be part of a discussion we're having. Oh, let's just check that because we're all here together. Is that okay for everybody? We're just going to quickly look at the phone, and then we put it away again once we've checked what we're checking. We're quite strict about that because meal times are precious, and these are boundaries that we've created. And I think with all of these kind of boundaries, it's important to be really consistent. But again, modelling how whatever we want from our kids, that we're doing the same thing. So we're also mindful of our own phone use when our phones are in our hands. The other thing that we did as a family was create a contract, which was quite detailed about what we expected from ourselves and the children in terms of how we use the phone. And that includes, for instance, no phones in bedrooms after 8 o'clock. Charging happens outside the bedroom. And of course, there are flexible things at the weekends, it changes. And, sometimes the kids might be on the phone for a bit longer if they need to communicate with people, but we're aware of what they're looking at. So if it's just mindless scrolling, we'll be much stricter about what they're doing on the phone. Also, making sure that there are limits on how long the kids are on the phone, and I control that through an app. So they get a certain amount of time on each particular app that they have, and that's negotiated all the time, and they're always asking for more, and sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, but I make it really clear why I am giving more time and why I'm not. So it's a relationship between all of us and the device, as opposed to the device being the enemy. It's how can we best use the device, because it is a really important social tool for certainly for my kids. I know they're on Snapchat a lot, chatting to each other or just sending blank photos. Whatever it is, there's a connection there. So I get how important that is for them. Also, getting the kids to really understand algorithms, where for most apps now, social media apps, the kids can say, don't like this content, and it won't come up again. The more they look at a particular content, the more they'll be shown that content over and over again, which is how a lot of people fall down rabbit holes of things that maybe they're not ready to be seeing. So it's making sure that they understand that they can stop that rabbit hole. They can change the algorithm, really show them how to do that, and be with them when they're on these apps in the early years, certainly, and check in. What are they looking at? Where are they going? Where's their algorithm taking them? So it's that kind of connection and relationship with the child, with the device and with the app. And I just think, those three things: boundaries, modelling, and kind of making sure that there are limits. The kids will not police themselves. They cannot. It's so designed to be addictive. It's so designed to keep these kids online. It's up to us to give them these boundaries, and very often the kids are grateful for it, believe it or not, whether they show it or not. And perhaps making sure there's something alternative that they can be doing. So I hope that's been helpful as just things to try. Happy to send you our contract if you're interested in seeing it. Just get in touch, direct message me, and I'll send it through to you. And any other support I can give you, just get in touch. And I wish you luck with your journey, and hopefully you'll tune in to any future videos. Thank you.